Hello, greetings. Thank you for joining us. I am your host for the day, Ishita Patel from KPI Ladder, who are into research based competency development and niche hiring. Joining us today is someone who embodies the perfect blend of creativity, inclusivity, and leadership. So, over to you, Parna.
Thank you, Ishita. Thank you for welcoming me in this podcast. And so, my name is Porna Bhattacharya, and I have been into this field of learning and talent. Been with organizations like Honeywell and ABP. Okay, so that's what it is, and been in this field for more than 15 years. And what I realize is that it is very important. It's one of the, I mean, what my I can say is the one of the best feeling to be in the profession, actually. So yes, and thank you for bringing in the aspect of creativity, because if there is a human, there will be creativity, right? Yeah.
Wow, wonderfully said. And I think with this, our listeners must be really curious to get on with the questions. So it's not really a question, but we all know you wear so many hats like talent and learning partner, diversity and inclusion leader, certified coach, and more. How do you define your personal branding across these roles? Secondly, why is personal branding so important in today's world?
Okay, so I'll take the first question first. Is that you talked about me taking so many hats, and how do I do my personal branding in this area? Actually, if you look at all these three, four areas that you mentioned, the target audience for me, or the people who I make a difference, are basically human beings, right? And for human beings, the best brand that you can bring is the brand of human. If I have to say that you have to come across in every aspect, in every moment of truth, as a human being. And when I say human being, I want to take you to the primitive ages, because one thing that human being has did, if they have done something really good, is the fact that they have hold on to the core of what is humanity. And that is, if you go to this primitive age people, that like which who we call caveman, cavewomen, people like that. Okay, what they used to do is that they used to have a full day where they used to earn their living. So it can be like, for them it is like killing the boars and killing the wildy beast and things like that, and then bring that home to eat, and then they used to char it like barbecue, what we call. Okay. And then the rest of the day, if you look at, they did so much of things which are so important today. Like, they used to tell us, the storytelling happened at that time. They used to tell stories like what did they see the whole day, their adventures. They'll come and tell it to their family. They will have a fire, and they will sit around and they will tell the stories. They will sing. They will explore their singing, their dancing together. That celebration of what you can say, the inception of culture, maybe the culture of human being. And they used to also paint the caves of, you have seen, that caves are painted also. So if you see, today, my brand has all of it, all the human aspects, if you have to say that. My role as a learning talent person, a person who makes with the value of making people better. If I have to say that, if that is the value of, that is the thing that I have to live, breathe, and all that, then it is very important to be a human being, and that's my brand. So if you think about storytelling, like if you have to think about it, then I do have a aspect of, I love stories, I tell stories, I brand myself as a storyteller. So that is my branding. And if there is a story, how far can a music be? It'll just come, right? So I also add music to it, and I also add pictures to it, like visuals. So if you see a human being, as we said, today's adult learning procedures and all that, say that either you're auditory, or you are visual, or you're kinesthetic, right? So so storytelling, music, and you can say painting, and there's the visual part of it is, so all these three aspects is my brand. So that's how I really tell myself that I did not deviate much from human aspects. I am a human being, but I want to, my brand kind of imprints and once again tells people that how it is like to be a human being. In that's my brand, and you will walk up to a human, right? I know that we are having a lot of chat bots and a lot of things where people go and then they share, but human being can nobody can beat it at all. So a brand like this is what I thought it, and it came naturally. If I have to say, Ishita, I did not plan, I did not strategize or things like that. I just delved into what I need to give, and that's how it came out to. And so today, that's the brand. That's the brand.
Wow, that's really beautiful. And talking about art, talking about visual creativity, would you want to tell our viewers about the art behind you? The elephant, the visuals?
Yeah. So this is I really love drawing, because when you draw, when you put things in like colors and pens and lines together, it takes you, it transports you to a space which is not where you are. It actually transfers, and you can create where that's creative. That's the beautiful merge of creativity. Like colors can instantly make you creative. A white page suddenly becomes something else, right? So this picture is basically, I drew because I had a thought in my mind that even to experience something great in our life, right, we all are aspiring to be something big, something big, something better than what we are and all. But if we don't have the courage to behold it, we'll never get it. So it's like, if and this has got a story behind, is that one day I was traveling from which place I don't remember exactly, but it's a road that takes you to a place called Shiliguri in northern part of India. And we did not expect like that. So there was a friend who was with me. She was telling that I have never experienced elephants crossing the road, and that was her dream. And she told me that quite a long period, not only me and all the friends who were there in the car. She told, and then you won't believe, lo and behold, this thing comes. It was unexpected. 11 o'clock in the afternoon, an elephant comes from one side of the road, crosses slowly, how they walk majestically, slowly, and then they turned, and then it entered in the other side of the so. And this woman got so scared that I
Wow.
did not want to see that. Like, so I asked, what is it that was going? She said that I could feel that it will, we are so puny, like so small, and it can kill us. Our existence will go away. So, we dream big. So what I say, we dream, we have huge visions, huge dreams. But when it really comes, it can scare you. So it's one side, it's great, but you have to have that courage, that to hold it, behold it, and you be on your, and you remain grounded when you get to see that. So that's the essence of the picture.
Oh my God, that's once again so wonderful. And I think after listening to you, I had always been wondering whether personal branding is it more about showcasing your strengths or, staying true to your core value. And I think with how you are, you have struck the perfect ikigai. Things that you're good at, something that means to the world, and also all this while sticking to your core value. So I think you're doing a wonderful job. Kudos to you. And with this, let's move on to the next question. So, could you
You had a
share?
second part of the question, maybe you asked another
Oh,
question.
oh yes, yes. So, why is personal branding so important in today's world?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is very, very important, not only for the world, but also for your own self. So it all starts with you. Like, if you feel that it is important, then it's important. If you think externally that, okay, I have to, because everybody is having a brand, I'll have to build a brand, then you will not hold it. It's not sustainable, right? But if you feel that in today's world, like, if you open up any place, like you want to learn something, you want to look for a role model tomorrow, if you want to learn an SME, a subject matter expert, there are so many, right? And because today the technology is such that it gives you so much information, so much info, that all of us looks like the clone of the other. right? Isn't it? Like, okay, a learning talent professional, learning talent, there are hundreds and thousands and millions of such,
Yeah.
right? But each one of us brings a value to it. So it's and not only learning talent, I'm saying any aspects, anyone, like anyone today who's in the who's selling something, who has a product, who wants to give it and has sees value in it. I think each one of us today needs to build that brand first for your own understanding, being absolutely grounded, because that anchors you and you operate from there and you don't get deviated. You anything, like it's a home, it's like a home to you, right? Like we all go from a house to the office and then we come back. Till the time we don't come back, we don't feel good, right? So it is like a home to each other. So that's why I feel that each one of us needs to have a personal brand you enjoy. First of all, you enjoy the work that you are doing, because if you are always promoting your brand, okay, that's one. And the product. So the other day, no, my cousin came to my house on this Sunday, and then he was telling that, what is your product? You're a learning talent HR person, what's your product, right? So
Wow.
it's so, the product is what you believe in. It can be a learning program, can be your product, or a concept, a cultural change, that is your product. Okay, that's how you, and how you influence. So each one of us, if you see core today, whoever is listening, each one of us are trying to sell or influence something, and that becomes your product. Like if you do a little, then you have a brand, you have a product, and if you sync both of them, then that's it. That's the beautiful way you can navigate. And there's so much of abundance in this world, you will definitely get picked up like that.
Great. The way you put up this synergy, I think it is something that everyone must, focus to achieving.
Absolutely, it's amazing, it's wondrous. Like I feel that this is also creativity. This is also, if you don't create, you will, everything will become so mundane, right? Isn't it? So
Uh,
yeah.
Absolutely. That's something I think if all of our listeners, we must really inculcate that in our lives.
Sure.
Now, going forward with this, when when was a moment or time where you realized that your brand was really starting to resonate with people? Is there any instance as such?
See, I'll tell you again a story. I did not, again, like, so I always say that there is an identity. You have an identity, and that is a brand you're trying to create, or a brand which is also getting created. And you then, when you come to know how you fit your identity and the brand, so in between is the sweet spot. If you understand that, then you start strategizing it, and you be more mindful about your brand, right? So identity is the subconscious process, and this is a conscious process, if you have to say. So I'll tell you how I really first understood this, that it was during the time of COVID. I had nothing to do. In the day, I used to kind of do the job,
Mhm.
like online, this thing, no face-to-face trainings, already demotivated, because I love standing in front of people, right? Anyway, so that those things, and then I realized that I actually created mm, micro learnings and all of that. That's the part till 6:30, 7 o'clock, my work time, right? After that, what do you do? So you have so much of energy, and the lockdown and all that, nothing is, you can't go out, okay? So I thought of, why don't I tell a story to the people in the social media, who are like, everybody is only posting worries, worries, and worries, and worries, and worries, right? And that's when I thought, let me tell a story in the midst of so much of worry, so much of death, so much of insecurities and all. Let me bring a story. So I started telling the story, which is again in where I'll be in my skin, and which I can offer to anyone. So it's my favorite genre is supernatural, psycho killers, and psycho, all these kind of things, thrillers, those kind of things. Psychological thrillers and things like that. Not proper ghosts in wheat, okay, not like that. Mehta dalke, no. So not that real thing, that a white thing comes in a white sari, not like that, but it's like a very different, like you think a different way through the story. So I first told a story of Dubuque in the social media. First story I remember.
Wow.
And it got so much of this thing that people really pushed me to say that you continue telling story every day. And that's why I found that okay, then people started they themselves started tagging me as storyteller Purna Bhattacharya. Okay,
Wow.
imagine. So it's not, it's so, it came from, it's then something that came from extra. So then that's the first thing, and then I really started curating my stories, really became like, that's where identity that came. And then the conscious part came, and then I realized, and then when I saw that I get so much traction when I tell, that's my first, where understood that yes, maybe my brand can be of a storyteller. That's my first understanding. And the second big moment is when KPI Ladder said that want to talk to you about your branding. So I think it is kind of it's there. So that's how, this is again a second realization, if you say, yeah. So that's how it is. And a little bit like I realize, I always hear from people in my colleagues and all, that whenever it's come to something innovative, something creativity, they always involve me in those. So yes, I these are the ways I realize that it's there.
Wonderful. We are truly grateful, and I'm sure we have discovered a gem. And I'm so glad our audience is able to get to know you through this. So, one question. So, what about the people who struggle to find their creative voices? What advice would you give it to them?
I'll say that the word creativity again is a big, sometimes it used to scare me as well, Ishita. That whenever, this new thing in the year 2015 or something, suddenly that creativity thing came in the whole thing, right? Suddenly everybody wants to become innovative, and those words like innovation, all organizations are into innovations and creativity, and it's to scare me. And I used to think, what will I innovate? Like the moment you think of innovation, you think about those like, people like Isaac Newton and things like that.
I was thinking about that too.
Isn't it? Then I said that, oh, what? Okay, the red apple fell on Isaac Newton. Why a green apple doesn't fall on me? So I thought like that, but then slowly I realized, then things like this design thinking came in. Like I actually went through those workshops and all. Then I realized that creativity, we have should not be very scared of it. It is there inside. Okay, I'll tell you a very interesting thing for anyone who's really struggling to be creative. I'll tell you, pick up a pen and a piece of paper, like a notepad, and start writing your day. So the moment you can make a white paper something else, that is creativity. Is in a simply put, if I have to say, simply. So that much I can do. I can at least write one line, and if one line and there's a huge space, let me make it big. That today I somehow made through the day. That can be creativity. Can make it beautiful or whatever. Write it in straight line, left line, or. So I'm saying creativity. You have to it itself. The moment you start, there's a button, and it's a very easy button. It's like a push, right? A small push. The moment you do it, and it is about consistency. Like you cannot say that, okay, today I'll be creative, and then I don't know, tomorrow I'll not be creative. It cannot happen. So if you think writing, putting down my thoughts in a white sheet of paper is my little bit of creativity, do it daily. Put a time. If it is after dinner, 9 o'clock, just before going to the bed, if you do it daily, and then you will see after a period of time, creativity is something which you don't do, it makes you do. It's like that. Because if you now go, if I tell that the various kundalinis that we have, like most of the time we operate from the basic kundalinis, right? There are a lot of 8 like chakras and all that. Anahata chakra is the chakra of creativity, which is makes it is in between the chakras that makes you do your daily chores, like your daily transactional chakras, versus your chakras where you want to aspire for big. So it is a beautiful mid path. So creativity is like this, so delicate. So it's so delicate. It ties both, so allow it, and it will do. That miracle will be done by itself. So like that.
Oh, wow. So I think a lot of times people pursue creativity like a pursuit, but rather it is a sense of being, right?
Yes,
That you just tap into it and that's it. Let it do the wonder for you.
yes.
Wow.
Absolutely, it's very it's also an exploration. Like, if I'll say, people who loves to explore life, they'll
Mhm.
get it. And somebody, people who are very insecure and very scared and wants to go in one line that has been led by ages and ages, people like historian from histories, then it is you have to be little courageous about it. You have to be little, you have to do a little let go. You have to also accept yourself that you are not so good here, or you have to accept of the fact, okay, I tried but it did not happen, failure, all that thing. You have to be very kind also to your own self, and then it will come, it will flourish. If you're
Wonderful.
not kind, people who are unkind to themselves cannot be creative.
Mhm. I think this is one term that I think initially when we met also, this word of yours, be kind to yourself, it's now actually like a mantra. I keep saying that to myself also when I'm being too hard on myself, and things seem to just flow in easier when you take the
Yes,
overthinking aspect out of it and
absolutely.
just believe in the form of things.
Absolutely. Actually, you are not here to gain something. You're over here to play, and to play the best game and just have the fun. Have you? What game do you play, Ishita? Like any sport that you love?
I think I'm a badminton girly. Like,
Badminton.
people
I
talk
just
about
got it
it.
somehow. I don't know. I knew you were. I don't know how, but I just got that vibe that you must play badminton.
Wow. What
So
sport are
do.
you into?
Sorry.
What
Yeah,
sport are
I
you
just,
into?
I don't know how I got that, Ishita. The moment I was like, what sport, and it was in my tongue there, badminton. Like,
Really?
yes,
Wow, that's great. I think we have vibed along really well. Hope
right,
our viewers would also want to be, taking part with this journey with us.
yeah. So when you play the badminton, the shots, you feel so happy, right? You feel there is nothing to lose, nothing to gain, kind of a thing, right? So that is the best thing to. That is the best. That is what is the crux of living.
Mhm. Wow. And every good shot is like a tiny sense of
Yeah,
accomplishment,
absolutely. And
to those
everything is
little
timed for you in your life. You
winners.
cannot get anything be before time or after that time. If it is happened to, it's happened at that time. So yeah. So you're saying what you're answering to your own questions.
Yeah, I think you're doing the magic, Marna. I have to give this to you. So now I think let's get into the more crucial part of this podcast. So now it's going to be numbers and words. So let's get into this. So as we are a competency firm, right? And as a L&D leader and a competency development planner yourself, how does
Mhm.
this entire planning, the entire delving into the L&D strategies, challenges, could you share like a few generic best practices or something that you live
Absolutely.
by?
Absolutely. So you will hear a lot like learning strategies. Okay.
Yeah.
And so let me tell you, we in the learning space and HR space, we are in the sweet spot in the organization, because we don't because we just need to ride on something. What are we riding on is the business strategy. Okay. So we don't have to, really create something else. We have to sit and wait till the time the business strategy is in front, participate in the strategy conversations, the business strategy conversations, participate in those forums, and try and understand what the organization is trying to achieve in next 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever is your big achieving moment. Okay. So the thing is that should be your long term. Like, if the business is trying to achieve something, what are the crucial competencies required to achieve that, right? So they cannot achieve without people, right? The people is only going to do it. That's the business terms, or the numbers that they're speaking, or the word, the sentence they are framing is the business framework. But what we need to do as learning is that translate that into people words, like people. Then is that what kind of competencies the organization requires to fulfill that strategy, that business strategy. Hence, from there starts the learning strategy. And I am a big fan of strategy X matrix, which is okay. So in strategy X matrix, what happens is that it helps you cascade. So you have the big strategy, the cascading strategy X you create, which is like you put in the, when I say X, imagine an X,
Mhm.
and in the lower bottom, which is like, now think about a clock, a clock here is a 6 o'clock position, right? The 6 o'clock position. So in the 6 o'clock position, you put those big 2 3 items that the organization. So what are the big need that then from there you break it up into, that's your long term strategies. Like for example, if organization is trying to do become a digital champion or something like that, so you're listening that you have, or you have to build digital competencies, AI competence, or like whatever competencies you want there, right, in 2 to 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. And then in 1 year, annual, first annual in the 9 o'clock position. So what does mean short term goal? What, how can you break it up into first one annual? So what are
Yeah.
those goals? So the 2 3 things that you need to do annually to, which will relate to this. And then you put that what are those activities or initiatives on the 12 o'clock position. And in the 3 o'clock position here of the X, you put the matrices to measure of
Okay.
matrices, okay, the targets and the matrices. So that becomes your learning strategy for annual first, okay. And you can also sit and create your second in the middle to around 2 3 months after 6 months. So it is like, what is the game, what is the game you're playing, and what is it that you want to win, just that. What's your game, and what is it that you want to win? And you go and share that with your business leaders, get a congruence, get a calibration, and just implement further. So you're good in 1 year. Your learning calendars are done, your learning initiatives are ready. So you just do it and measure, and then by the time it is November or something, just bring out your second annual and third annual, and you will see calibrate, because business can also change. Because it's a dynamic, you're functioning in a dynamic world, right? So it's so dynamic. Your strategy X matrix is also so dynamic. See, like you can always change it the moment the business is you can change it. So that's what I always say, your learning and talent is not away from business, it's actually sitting in the heart of business. The only thing is that as learning talent leaders, we need to be very closely operating with our business stakeholders and all, so that you know that what you have done is right. If you have to need a tweak in it, so that's my way of thinking, because that's language even everybody understands. Because many leaders will not understand I have seen people go and speak learning talent languages over there to the business leaders, like no, then you have to use the terms what they understand. So this is, so that's how you need to do.
Great. I think your explanation really caters to both the short term and the long term goals, right?
Absolutely. And Ishita, I'll tell you, just because people, in the month of October, suddenly I see learning vendors calls me. Is there a learning need? My question is there. How can I have a learning need? Because we are if I am a normal, sensible learning talent person, I will
Right.
already have it said there, right? Call me at a time when I'm framing it or something. Yeah, so that's
Wow. So I think if any vendors are listening, they can take notes. You have to call Parna before she does the planning, not while
or
they.
and say that your first annual X metric is over.
Yeah. I think they really need to hear this one. I'll be forwarding it to them for sure now.
Yeah, so that's how it happens, and it's not random. If you are seeing, you are going to an organization and say yes, come,
Mhm.
then there is a lack of planning. So it's good to be absolutely planned. But yes, as learning person, I always love to listen what is happening elsewhere, like that.
Mm.
Yes.
So, Parna, let's say for 2025, do you already have your planning done or it's still in the process?
So as I said, that I always keep on tweaking things, and you get a view of how your next year is going to be there. So
Yeah.
the activity will happen after 15th of December, when there will be a lot of free time, and I'll reflect, and then I'll put things. And then by December, by January, when everything is like immediately the year starts, then you can actually do your calibration conversations.
Wow. I think that's really wonderful way to put it. I mean, I think we'll be doing that with our company too, stealing that strategy right there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is an open strategy. Strategy X Matrix is a good one. It's a lean tool actually. You can also, I think Hoshin Kanri, I think is the Japanese name or something, but I say
Yeah.
Strategy X Matrix.
I think our viewers should know we also have a blog on this and they can check it out if they need more details on this one. We'll be having the links in the description. So, now coming to another fun part of this podcast, and unfortunately the last one. But since you're passionate about generative AI and personality assessment, how do you see Gen AI really shaping the workspace today?
Shaping the workspace is, I am still, I don't know that much, but I am very excited about the new robo that has come from Tesla.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it can make drinks, and it can kind of talk like humans, but again you can understand it's like not that human as well, but we are okay with that level of human. But I'm saying yes, it's a very, very interesting, I'm very interested in this. But I'll tell, in the assessment parts and all of that, maybe it will bring some efficiency, but I see a lot of value of AI in in the place of talent and inclusion, you know
Hmm.
like with AI, with chat gpts and the various other AI tools. um, if it is used well, with the with net internet going so vast in our country, you know if like if I want to start with the diversity dimension, like women, the gender diversity dimension, then you say that a lot of women cannot enter into the learning, in a sense that other learning aspects, because they're after their preliminary learning, most of the time they get married and all that, and they cannot pursue higher studies. But in the concept like AI, in here, this there is a huge opportunity, right? That is number one. Number two is that with AI you can actually learn languages. There are great apps you have seen that it teaches you how to, let's get into how to, let's speak in English. Those kind of chats bots are there. So language learning is a good thing. I think these are very, very, these are very, very good to the humanity, I will say. And that's how we will get a lot of talents for ready for us. That's in the workplace, if I have to say. So that's
Mhm.
there. I am sure bigger things are happening in more areas, but I'm just telling in the very, I'll just tell you another very beautiful story, that I was creating a story and I was hard pressed on time. Like I had so much of like calls in the whole day, and then I really, I also said today I have to post this story. Okay, in LinkedIn there is one story called The Face, and there I told that if I have to do the voice myself, then it will take another 1 hour, and it was 12 o'clock already in the night. Then I thought, why not use AI generative voice generator? And I just had to do cut copy paste of the English language, the story that I've written. I just have to put it there, and it will read it out for me. I just have to synchronize the pictures as the story goes, and in maybe in 5 6 minutes it is done. But if I had to do it through my voice, it would have taken another 45 minutes to 1 hour, right? So
Wow.
I feel, now imagine how great, like if today, if someone who is speech impaired or something like that, like from the dimensions of abilities, if you have to see,
Yeah.
if they use voice generate, there's a voice, and it's so amazing. And these are the things I think we can break the barriers through AI, and I see that coming big way. And I'm a big supporter. I am learning. I cannot say that I know it all, but I really learn, as a part of my continuous learning. AI learning, generative AIs and all is my part of continuous learning, and I spend at least 15 minutes every single day to learn AI.
Wow, that is great. And I think this is really important for the people who have, really believe that notion that AI is going to replace us.
Yes.
It's a tool at the end of the
It
day.
is, it is. I'll tell you, even I have a YouTube channel called Horror Potions where I tell ghost stories, and the thumbnails become so great after I used AI images. Like I have to just tell, I need to know the prompt really well, that what kind of image I want them to create for me, and in few seconds it's there.
Wow, would you like to share it with us? Do you have that available at the moment?
Let me see. Let me see. I have it with me,
Mm-hmm.
but then I have to share my screen. Just a moment to let me know if you can.
Please, please. And meanwhile, I think even prompting has become a part of creativity. Like,
Right.
how well
Absolutely.
are you able to express it, articulate your words, the better the imagery comes out.
That's right. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see it. This is your channel, right?
So yes, this is my channel, and if you look at this, this is the kind of images that I'm creating today. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you the images that I used to create like 4 or 5 months ago. So look at this, like very simple images, very basic images. Somewhere, like I have drawn this. This is my drawing, right? So, but these are not very professional, right? Very, very not that professional kind of. See, this is not professional thumbnail at all. Okay, but when I am showing, sorry,
Yeah.
but if I go up over here, look at the images that I have created today. They are so amazing. So look at this thumbnail, the pic
Uh-huh.
thumbnail. So amazing. This so these are like really talking. It's telling you what are you going to expect from the story. And I have seen a lot of people get. I can attract people more for the stories with this kind of.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Like the dog one, that
Yes.
was, it really spoke, right? You
Oh
don't
yeah,
have
yeah.
to really get into it before knowing what you're getting into.
Right, right.
That's
Exactly.
great. So, of course, now we must decide, how we use AI and responsibility, ethics. That's another new chapter.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have to be very mindful that we should not put anything of our organizations in that. But for other general things, just to get inspired or get information or make your content better, you make your email better, make your communication better, make your structure of your sessions better. Please, I think AI can be very good. It's like a coach.
Wow, that is really well done. And I think we all can take mental notes about these. And I hate to end this, but before we do that, could you share your own personal mantra or a quote that you really abide by?
I always tell, I mean, now it has become my DNA is that be in your skin. Don't be shy to show who you are. We all are, are over here for a brief period of time. If you don't enjoy that, if you don't be what you are, you don't explore yourself, then that life is not meant or worth living. So there is the reason I always tell that why this earth is so beautiful, why this world is so beautiful. It is made only for us to enjoy the beauty. So we must and must and must be here, and don't and not worry about things which will always
Mm-hmm.
make our present bad. So let things happen, tackle it with a happy mind.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are genuine, you will see a lot of help coming your way, even if you are alone, right? So it's no worries. At the end of the day, believe on humanity.
Very well done, and thank you so much for being here. And as you concluded, life is an experience, and so were you. So, thank you for gracing us and the audience. And I'm so sure I was able to learn so much in just these few minutes. I'm sure they are gonna be too. And we are anticipating your presence with us more. So,
Sure.
thanks a lot.
I will be happy, Ishita, to be and discuss and chat more.
Mhm. Thanks a
Thank
lot, Varna. Lovely having you. Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.